Well, they gave him a bunch of tobacco, so he's not killing plant. I go up every couple of years. Every Wednesday. They brought yes.
For a while.
Healthy.
Yeah, you know, they did that for my band donuts. Oh my God. Never had. Can you imagine having a bunch
Got something to do?
of 7 days of night shifts coming off and not having donuts up in the street?
That's a good banana.
That time at my pasture, somebody, either my dog went and stole it or somebody did it on the black market.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, the health thing.
Just stand back when you hit it.
Yeah, it looks kind of.
So what's the one?
Yeah.
Well, you don't know how many people are chewing on it. Right.
Well, see, I was,
And then they started limiting the coffee.
Really?
Oh, yeah. So the budget's got tighter. They started cutting down on donuts and coffee.
when I go, where your ball is. Where all the use. Think about all the fertilizers.
Yeah, and the pesticides and the herbicides.
Nobody.
Yeah.
You're gonna wind up.
You watch your shoes. Well,
For a while, I went donuts a day.
No, it's just.
Yeah, man. Some days, some days the DEQ list doesn't take care of the airport. Maybe I'll throw it out.
There's a lot of it. And we usually had them straight on night shift, so they were going home. They skipped it. That's why I said there was some pretty
so. Actually, they've been doing it on the space shuttle forever, so it's actually not that bad.
Yeah.
Weren't they doing that with the Colorado down in Mexico or somewhere? They had a big hole in the ground that they were filling up.
That was an interesting.
And they didn't want to. But I read something. So for those of you who like to go to Las Vegas and Phoenix, a Legionnaire is going to start flying out of Longmont from Fort Collins. So for those of you who like to have cheaper flights and not have to go through security. James, are you there? Is James Cassidy on yet?
They're both on. I was
Say that again, James.
On the line again.
Thanks, James. Shannon, are you there?
She has on.
She might have walked out.
Yeah,
Thanks, Shannon.
Creighton, I am here.
Okay, great.
The line is too difficult to hear, but that's the use of background.
Did you tell her? Okay.
Oh, yeah. It's on vacation to come back with a cold, right?
I'm just glad you didn't have the other day.
I know, well, you probably did. Okay, stay over there.
Although my kids are starting school.
Oh, you're gonna get funny. All right, let's begin. We can come to order, please. Good morning. I'm David Bagley, Chairman of the Wyoming Environmental Quality Council. It is August 14th, 2019, and it is 9:04 a.m. This meeting is being held at the Wyoming State Library, 2800 Central Avenue, Cheyenne, Wyoming. Present today are John Cora from the council, Steve Lenz, Kane True, Deb Farmer, Megan Lally, J.D. Radakovich, and myself. We got everybody? Also present are Jim Ruby, our executive officer, Joe Gerardin, paralegal, and Ryan Schellhouse from the Attorney General's office. And I think what we'd like to do first, if I remember, Jim, is because we have a report later in the agenda, I'd like to bring it up on where we're at with the Contura Black Jewel update. Do we have Mr. Cassidy on the line?
Yes.
So I'd like to go ahead and have him present his update first, because he's got other cases he had to attend to immediately, and then we'll go on with the agenda as shown. So, Mr. Cassidy, could you please provide us the update on the Black Jewel situation?
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you for allowing me to do my telephone. Yesterday morning, we filed a very short status report with the members of council.
sorry.
Mr. Cassidy, just a minute, we're having technical difficulties on this end. We're not being able to hear you, so let's see if we can get that fixed.
I think I got it. Go ahead.
Go ahead and start talking again, we'll see.
You ready?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Sure. So I filed status report yesterday, and in essence, the status of the bankruptcy proceedings remains the same as it was at your last meeting. Although there has been a sale to Contura, that sale has not yet closed, and it is uncertain at this time whether that sale will close. As a consequence, the proceedings in front of the EQC are basically in the same position that they were. So it's the recommendation, I believe, of all parties that the council maintain the stay that it previously entered, take no action at this time, and await further developments in the bankruptcy.
Thank you, Mr. Cassidy.
And I think that's about it.
Are there any questions from council members? All right, well, seeing none, I appreciate your sharing that with us. And we will, I think as everyone is, continue to closely in hope that there'll be a successful resolution to that issue. Thank you very much, Mr. Cassidy.
Thank you, and I may just stay on the line to hear the discussion about the Contura renewal order and the Lander Maverick discussion, but I will put my phone on mute and just sign off when it makes sense to do so, if that's all right.
But that'd be fine, thank you. Okay. So now jumping back to, order introduced. And we've got some public hearings. So I'd like to kind of jumble the agenda a little bit. We got everybody here for DEQ to do those hearings. And there's, get that going. We'll jump and save some of the council's voting and administrative things for later. So we have 2 rulemaking hearings for today. Councilman Rakovich is the hearing officer. So, Councilman, I turn the gavel over to you to begin your hearing.
All right, thank you. Lady Chairman Bagley.
Oh, you don't have to. You can hit the council members if you have a line.
I'm J.D. Rakovich, and I'm the hearing officer for dockets 19-2101 and 19-2102. It is August 14th, 2019 at 9:10 a.m. This meeting is being held at the State Library, 2800 Central Avenue, Shane, Wyoming. Present today are John Cora, Steve Lynn, James Crew, Beth Palmer, Megan Lally, Dr. David Bagley, and myself. Also present are Green Ruby, Executive Officer, Gerardo, Paralegal, and Brian Schellhaus from the Attorney General's Office. For the DEQ report, I guess you're come for it. David, I'll open the hearing. The docket 19-2101, and the floor is yours. Please introduce yourself, and just say your name for the record.
Thank you, hearing officer. My name is Amber Potts, and I work with the Department of Environmental Quality in the air quality section. And my work duties are rulemaking and our state implementation plan. We like to try to keep all of our regulations up to date. So folks and sources in Wyoming can deal with Wyoming government rather than the federal is. We call the package incorporation by reference, which we're taking a lot of the Wyoming regulations reference the Code of Federal Regulations for the EPA, and a lot of our sources fall under those regulations. So we do like to do an annual update, and that's simply what a majority of this first packet is. The docket 19-2101 is incorporation by reference. So our regulations prior to this said had a lot of dates of 2017, and every year in July, the EPA or the federal government updates that copyright date of the 2018. So unfortunately, we weren't able to get before you earlier. So now there's actually a new 2019 date sitting out there that you'll see us again in a couple of quarters or so. But so this is updating everything from 2017 to 2019, and I can certainly walk through every change that we've made in our chapters. It seems like a lot of chapters that we're updating, but we're very strategic with our placement. It's usually the last section of every chapter. So I can go ahead and get started with chapter 2 if that pleases you.
Well, let me ask the council, this, being unfamiliar with this process itself, you guys have seen this somewhat on an annual basis, it sounds like. If there's no substantial changes and we're just changing dates, is it necessary for ever to go through every one of these or not?
Actually, for my administrative record, because I will be submitting these changes to EPA under the state implementation plan, it would be beneficial if we could walk through each and every one, and I'll make it short and succinct for you. Okay, So our first change is in chapter 2, which is houses our ambient standards. This chapter has no changes except for on page 2-7, and that's the very end section, and we are just updating that date. And that is incorporated into our state implementation plan. So we will be submitting that change to EPA. As soon as, if we go state effective, then the state implementation plan gets submitted and EPA then has to act on it and approve our plan. So then we can move on to chapter 3, section 9. There is some updates. We're incorporating by reference. We're also, I believe in chapter 3, I have a section 6. I'll get it. Yeah, I have page 3-47. Which is again at the very end of section 9. Just those dates are changing. 2017, 2018, and that change is also incorporated into our state implementation plan. I'm going to double check. Then we have chapter 4, section 6. That is on page 4-19. And that is a date change from 2017 to 2018. Chapter 4, section 6 is not incorporated into our state implementation plan, so no plan will be submitted to EPA on that. Chapter 5, if I'm going too quickly, stop me, but I can breeze through these. Chapter 5, section 2, we are updating subpart J, which is a performance standard for petroleum refineries. And we did some definition changes for flaring purge gas and flaring supplemental gas for pressure relief devices and some storage tanks, maintenance valves, and fence line monitoring. Those are getting incorporated, so it's just an update. Those changes are on page 46, so 5-46. Also in section 3, we're updating part 63, subpart CC, national emission standards for hazardous air pollutants for petroleum refineries. Again, they updated those definitions. And then I can move on to chapter 6. Yes.
So that there was changes on page 546. I see those. What were the other ones you mentioned?
I believe they're all on page 546. Oh, incorporation by reference. Then we have, sorry, that's then the sorry, it's 5-5. No, sorry, I'm looking from the wrong chapter. So we're updating part 63, double C, which is located on 5-37. And it's the national emission standard for hazardous air pollutants from petroleum refineries. that page. 5-37.
National emission standards for hazardous refuse control and home.
Yes.
But I don't see change.
No, that's the section, so how the, Part 63 works is there is a big federal rule out there, and they were specifically updating a definition in that federal rule. We don't reiterate and regurgitate that entire federal rule into our regulations. We just list them. So we're saying with this change, Part C, the subpart CC is changing to the 2018 regulations with the updated definition changes in the Federal Register published on 2018.
So let me see if I understand that. So the date change down at the very end.
Yes.
2017, 2018. Basically, very little change in the federal rate, except there was a change to this part.
Yes,
So it's important for us to make that change 2018, so we pick that up.
exactly.
when we approve.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Thank you. And then we have chapter 6 on page 6-157, at the very end of that document. We're again just updating 17 to 18. No changes occurred with the federal regulations. That is also incorporated into our state implementation plan, so there will be a change to EPA on that one. Chapter 8, section 10, which is on page 8-95. Again, we're just updating the 17 to the 18. No changes in that federal regulation. That one does get submitted to EPA for our state implementation plan. Chapter 11, section 2, in the National Acid Rain Program. Again, we're just updating the date on page 1, or above 11-1. The only page in that regulation. And that's all the changes for 19-21.
Anything else? If I could just ask for a quick summary then. So, changing the date from 2017 to 2018. And it sounds like in some cases there really was no change in the regulations, or we need to change the date in. But if you could just tell me quickly, which chapters do those changes, did you see changes in the federal rate? It sounds like chapter 5 there was one. Okay, and there were other chapters. And then also, which of these chapters go into the SIP?
Right, absolutely. This would be a great recap. So we do have a change to a definition in chapter 3.
Okay.
And then we have the change to the definition in chapter 5.
There were changes in the federal regulation, the definition, so we really have to make sure those are updated.
Exactly.
Okay, those two chapters. But the other chapters,
Just
you're
okay.
changing the date, just
Yes. And then I can let you know the chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 6, and 8 are in the state implementation plan. And will be submitted after the state implementation.
thank you, Mr.
Any other questions? Any comments? Is there anyone else who wishes to testify before the packet? Anyone who wishes to testify in opposition? Anyone who wishes to testify as a neutral party? Who's happy? Any further testimony from anyone or any questions from the council? Anyone from the council have any comments? That concludes the public hearing docket 49-2101. Do I have a motion to approve the rule package and statement with reasons and confirmation -2101? Second. We have to do a roll call vote.
Mr. Henry, can I just ask Amber one quick question? Amber, is there any reason that some of these, in order to help you not have to come back again, can we amend any of these? Can we do an amendment to the change in 2019?
I believe you could. It hasn't ran through our air quality advisory board, and usually we like to get the advice of our air quality advisory board before coming to the council. But Ryan, maybe you can help. He's my attorney general, unable to be here and help.
I think my take on that would be that maybe a more efficient way of doing this is maybe something that we can chat in the future. But since these changes went out as adopted in 2018, I don't know what changes were made for 19. I think I would leave it at 2018, and maybe in the future there's maybe a more efficient way that we can do this, but I would leave the rule package as submitted 2018.
And I think that's a good reason, because we really do go through that entire CFR, and maybe some things that change federally aren't good for Wyoming business and aren't good for the agency. So we do that information gathering and double check things.
Mr. I have a question. And I just want to know, would the, because we're already past the date, was the council too slow? Did you come before us and say, we want to do this, we'll find a seat in August?
I believe we tried to get on early, but there was a lot on the May agenda. And
There was an issue with publication date, trying to get it done in a way to get it on the May agenda. And if you remember, the May agenda was fairly full with Black Joe Hunter and a couple of other things. And so then we talked to them about trying to have a meeting before August, and they just agreed to do it all. But because any other date I think was already passed, would have also been passed the date.
Okay, so we will endeavor to be,
Well-
we can get this stuff for you, before you take it, just see, just so that I just wanted to.
I appreciate that.
And Mr. Hearing us, or Dr. Bagley, to some degree, you're always going to be here. Because by the time the feds get it done, and then they get it done, you're almost to the next year anyway. Because if we'd have done it in May, within a couple of months, it would have been out of date.
We would
That's true. They published the new CFR and the Code of Federal Regulations in July.
By being a month or so late, that's what you guys
No, not at all.
Any other comments or questions from the council? We'll vote. All those, the roll call vote. So there's a couple of people passed right now. Speedwood, Ireland.
Aye.
Shake.
Aye.
Nate.
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
So that was five. There's no total here. I'll move on to docket 19-2102.
Absolutely. This is a good news story, I think, for Wyoming. We have a facility in Casper that manufactures tanks. And they are creating so many tanks that they've tripped over into the federal regulation mandating some specific pollution control and information regulations about their manufacturing process. So they have ramped up production and they've asked us to incorporate into Chapter 5, Section 3, it's on page 5-40 of docket 192102. They would like us to include 40 CFR Part 63, Subpart X, 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 with 6 X's.
That wasn't the typo.
That was not a typo. We jokingly refer to this as Hex X. But this is all about the manufacturing of the tanks, and this specific facility in Casper would like to deal with the state of Wyoming rather than the federal government. So we are incorporating, we request that you incorporate subpart 6X into our regulation, and that is on page 4-5, or sorry, 5-40.
What is the threshold?
The threshold, I believe it was 1 tank per day, or that's what it equals out to. So that, and they're really big tanks, and I don't know the name of the facility. But yeah, they're manufacturing these very, very large tanks, and they're doing them out right there.
Any questions from the board?
Yeah, Mr. Hearing Officer, just wanted to ask, again, I think I understood, but, so they've been manufacturing tanks, but they're below the federal threshold.
Right.
They haven't.
We hadn't.
And so they've now exceeded that threshold in the regulation because this is not currently in the rule. They're having to deal directly with DPA.
Exactly.
So by putting this in and then DPA approves it, then they can, primacy will come down to us and they'll be able to deal directly with DPQ.
Exactly. Yep.
And it's because they're just making more tanks. Right?
Ramping up operations, yeah.
Everyone else who was specified for the package? Who wishes to specify the new capacity for the package? Any other questions from the council?
I do have a question. So I'm looking at page 546, where we have the corporation by reference, and I see the 2017 date. Should we be adjusting that to 2018 as well?
That would probably be a good, yes, because we couldn't change the date until you approved it and moved it on to state effective. So if that was your recommendation, I would like to.
Do we need to do that in 2 separate motions? First approve it and then change the date?
You'll do a motion to approve, there's an amendment to the motion, then you'll approve the primary motion as amended.
Okay, well, she says that we have to adopt the state reference before we can change the date. 2 separate motions.
No, it'll all club together. But you'll have to do the motion to approve the principal reason the whole package, and second that, and then you'll do the motion to amend. Now, what I'll need is just the page number and word. We'll change 217 to 218 of what page? In chapter
5,
page
46.
Right.
So, is there a motion to approve?
But
Right.
Yeah, have them do the entire motion to approve the whole package and the statement of principal reasons provided for 1921.
Well, I have a motion to approve the rule package and the statement of principal reasons for document 19-2102. Is there a second?
Second.
Take the vote.
Mr. Greenwasser, I'd like to move to amend that motion to change on incorporation by reference, chapter 5, section 4, on page 546, two places. Part A, under the Code of Federal Regulations from July 1, 2017 to July 1, 2018. And then in section B, part B of the same section, under ASC now, I'd like to move the change from July 1, 2017 to July 1, 2018.
Second.
Any issues with that?
No, I was just asking Amber, I know we had the previous question on the first set of rules. So these rules will be federal regulations. I guess help me understand, I just want to make sure this is kosher.
Right, so because we had two rulemaking packages lined up, our original for the second couldn't have been updated because the first wasn't to the council yet. They kind of lined up on top of each other. So the first rulemaking package, we did change everything from 17 to 18. But that happened today, and we couldn't put that out there because it doesn't state effective.
Are there any changes?
We ran through the changes through 2018, so we're happy with everything 2018. It was just how the packages stacked up for the council.
And this doesn't cause any problems on your end going to the advisory?
Absolutely.
All right.
Thank you for that question.
So we're okay to move forward with
Yes.
this. So now we can vote on it.
You'll need two votes, one on the amendment, roll call, and then one on the main vote.
Okay, so on the amendment first, any other discussion on the amendment? Steve?
Oh, do we have a second on the amendment? Brandon, second?
Yes. Okay.
Right.
Dave?
Aye.
Tiger?
Aye.
I vote aye. That passes. Before the original motion for lot 29-2. Vote on that, Steve?
Aye.
Okay. Aye. David?
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
I vote aye. The talk passes. Tag passes. Tag passes. The EQC representation of my board here.
Thank you, Mr. Green Officer.
Thank you, Councilman Johnson. All right, so now we'll jump back to some of our other activities here.
Yeah.
Do we have a motion to approve the minutes for May 15, 16, 2019? Second? Any comments or corrections, discussion on those?
Mr. Greenwasser? There is one change that I made and reprinted, and I just wanted to let Councilman Lenz know. There was one place I didn't get the T taken out. I reprinted it this morning with the T gone. You guys all have it marked up. So Dr. Bago has a clean copy that has the T out.
Mrs. Bell, council members?
I did one more time.
All in favor of the minutes with the correction, all our names are spelled correctly. Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passed. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from July 10th, 2019? Second?
Second.
Okay. Any comments, corrections, discussion on those? Hearing none. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Approved. Thank you. All right, do I have a motion to approve the administrative order on consent regarding the Saratoga landfill in docket 19-5903? Second? Second. So for those who are new, if we have anyone from DEQ might be able to just briefly tell us what's involved with that, what's going on. Some of the council members are new, we have seen these.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
that's from the solid hazardous waste division, and there's no one here. If you want a quick down and dirty, I can tell you, administrative orders on consent are entered into. The ones we've been dealing with right now have to do with landfills closing and with them creating transfer stations in replacement, and then basically compressing the garbage and then shipping it out. And so these administrative orders on consent are the initial process by which the agreement of the two parties is made, close the landfill, create the transfer station, and that then activates money coming from the legislature through the DEQ solid waste division to the cities and counties, the solid hazardous waste agencies to do that process.
Any questions from council members on that? Scary off. All right, I believe we need a roll call vote on that, Jim?
Yes.
So there you go. Questions, we'll do a roll call vote on that. Councilman Wentz?
Aye.
Councilman Drew? Aye. Councilman Rocket? Councilman Carr?
Aye.
I vote aye as well. So that is approved. All right, now, the parties reached a settlement in docket 193202A, which is an NOV order for discharge of gasoline into the river in Lander, Wyoming. They submitted an order to dismiss the matter on July 5th, 2018. So they signed the order for that. And we need to ratify that. Remember signing the order. Do I have a motion to ratify the order of dismissal signed on July 8th, 2019? Second? Second. Thank you.
Good time, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Just a question that, so the order was dismissed, I presuming that, knowing that, the plan or something would be put in the, discharge or the.
Make your computer cancel.
Look at that, there's my signature. So, good question, Councilman Cora. Do we have anyone from DEQ present who could speak to that?
There is not, but I can give you back. If you read, there's a stipulation for dismissal in the paperwork, and they do not disclose exactly what the contents of that agreement are, which has kind of been the policy. It's been off and on with DEQ over the years. Some divisions have told us what the settlement was, others have not, because the council doesn't approve the settlement. You're just moving things forward. And so in the stipulation, they didn't say exactly what the decision was between DEQ.
The agency is satisfied.
Yeah, they filed a stipulation saying it was
Yeah,
stipulated.
it's been approved by the agency. Any other questions or comments on that? Seeing none, we will do a roll call vote. Mr. Cora?
Aye.
Mr. Rokovich? Aye. Ms. Lawley.
Aye.
Mr. True.
Aye.
Mr. Lenz.
Aye.
I vote aye as well. So we have ratified that. Okay, we've done the rulemakings. Okay, we've got our update from Mr. Cassidy. All right, so next is we had two issues. As the council knows, there were two issues raised in the Ventura case, and one of them was stayed, and we've heard the update on that issue, and it will remain stayed at this time. But we made the decision on the issue of the renewal of the permit for Ventura, and the question of whether the ranch value was correct for purposes of the reclamation. And Mr. Shellhouse has prepared an order for our consideration. And I believe the most recent version that we got yesterday, there's been a suggestion for change. Is that right, Mr. Shellhouse?
That is correct.
So would it be best for us to maybe in the executive session for you to explain that to us?
Yes, that would be great.
All right, so is there a motion to move into executive session for legal advice on this report?
So moved.
Second? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. All right, we're moving into executive session for legal advice on this topic.
Who's second? Steve?
Steve?
One second. I'm working on it. Let's see.
Going, yeah. And they said, did they pass the discussion on that?
I think yesterday he came back.
I told Matt, I said, you need to have somebody go in there and dump some giant thing.
All right. Do I have a motion to approve the order and authorize Ms. Molly to sign the order as a hearing officer on behalf of the council? This is the order with respect to findings of fact included in the law and order in docket number 18-4803. Is there a second? All right, any discussion on that order? Seeing none, we'll take a roll call vote on that. Mr. Lenz?
Aye.
Mr. Drew, you're recused. Ms. Molly?
Aye.
Ms. Bauer?
Aye.
Mr. Rodokovich? Aye. Mr. Cora?
How would I?
I vote aye as well. So that has been approved, and we will get that order to Ms. Molly to sign. So let's see where we are on the agenda. I think we're just about done. Okay, so I want to update the council on some things that we've been working on. The memorandum of understanding with the Department of Administration and Information. So a draft of that was prepared. Brian and Jim worked through it and gave it to me. I shared that with the other officers, Deb and Don, to take a look at. And then we sent it over to A&I to get their feedback, since they also have to sign it. And the result of that is I'm meeting with Tricia Bach at A&I this afternoon to discuss with them the MOU. They had indicated they had some questions, and so we'll get that sorted out and come up with it. Actually, we'll come up with a new MOU for us to examine. So that just follows on from the change in the law last legislative session. Yeah, we'll continue working that.
They got committed, so that we can more effective person with their own
Well, the MOU that we sent was one that Brian and Jim, and so I think we got rid of those. I have a feeling they may want to bring some of those back, so we'll work it out and see. But they have the new interim director, Tricia Bach, she started July 1st, so they've been changing over some leadership there.
Right.
And I think it's part of it. We'll get it sorted out. But they,
The person was back.
yeah, I think they may want to add. Yeah. We'll see. That was the impression I got. So we'll keep working on that. Update on the raises. As you recall, our May meeting, we voted on a raise for Joe Gerardin, and I've got that paperwork submitted, signed, and everything, submitted that Monday, actually. So that hopefully they'll look at it, and hopefully that will be successful, and Joe will get the raise that we authorized for him. With respect to Jim's raise, that's taking longer to put together, and the plan at this point is that we're going to prepare two submissions in parallel. There is we've been learning about the state of Wyoming's pay, which is something I've always wanted to know. And now I'm learning in more detail than I ever wanted to know. The form that we use to request Joe's raise is a form that for someone who stays in their classification, you're saying, let's go to request a raise. So we're prepare one of those for Jim. But because of where his classification is and where his pay is with respect to his classification, we are also going to request or prepare JCQ. The JCQ, for those who actually want to know what that means.
Job content qualification.
I'm sorry?
Job content qualification.
There we go. Job content questionnaire. And this is, interestingly, perhaps, there's never been one of these prepared for Jim's position. all the time that he's been, in his position, never gone through a job content questionnaire. So this is something for, is he in the right classification? So we're going to prepare that as well. We talked with the D&I folks on Monday, and they are eagerly awaiting our job content questionnaire. But what I'm going to do is because I think I'm going to at least bounce this off the officers before we send it up, because as you know, last year we did a lot of work on this, and we prepared a report for the legislature, and we want this to be consistent with the report that the legislature sent, so that we are, not inventing the new job that is inconsistent with what the legislature is doing. So that's our the plan for that. So it's taking a little bit longer for that to happen. Any questions on that? Now I do have a question for the council. We may need to go back to the executive session, but or not. I don't have a number to put into the form for the pay request. We didn't decide that at our last meeting. We decided on a raise for Joe. We voted on that. Yeah, they will put that together. I don't have a number for that at this point. So the question to think about is, do you want to decide on a number today, or would you like to see the documents before we send those out? The JCQ, I don't believe that may require a number, but that's not duty or anything else to the classification. But the pay request would require an actual number we put in there. So
The number we can ask for, though, based on what the outcome of that is, right?
well, we're doing it parallel. There's two.
Okay, because I thought that there's a range of acceptable salaries within each classification.
Right, and Jim's above his range in his current classification. So
Right.
we would be asking, and it'll go up and be reviewed. But so he's already above the top range.
Of his current, but if
Right.
we redo it and the raise is whatever raise.
You don't need to know what that range is first before we try to grow within the range. And you have to be actually reclassified.
They told us two things. The first thing they told us was that you can ask for a raise above the range, and then they will process that in some fashion. Then there's the or you can do a request for reclassification, and to do that you need the JCQ, which then determines where you would go, and that may or may not put you may or not put me in a position where I'm not still above the range, because I'm an EXO, and EXOs, I'm above all of their ranges.
Sure.
Yeah, this is in the form of a question for a memory check. When we were discussing this in our last meeting, there were the two pieces. The one was legislatively authorized raise amount of, I think, 2%, that would go for everybody.
Right.
And that was sort of the ceiling for that action. And then for guys that are in Jim's range of ranges, if you will, you could get the 2% up to $80,000 of salary. And in his case, because his salary was more than that, he essentially is getting an effective raise less than 2%.
Right.
That's what the legislature authorized everybody to do. And as I recall, this gets to my question, right? Just to make sure. I think we had some conversations in full session, by the way, around we ought to make sure he at least gets that authorized raise, to make sure he comes out of this with some money. rather than, so that we had with them, and we kind of put it off for the day when you became chairman. I'm just joking, but you becoming chairman, that's your chairman, Dr. Bagley, but we wanted to study it more. But anyway, my recollection is that, hey, Jim ought to get the first raise that's authorized legislatively, and then we ought to take on the second task, getting him up to where he had requested us to get it to, which did require a classification change. But we wanted to keep those two separate. That's my memory. If anybody,
So, I'm looking at some notes I kept on that. My understanding is the 2% happens up to $100,000.
And it has.
Yeah.
That has happened.
So that's yeah. And then the other thing was, so now we had discussed that a merit that would be greater on top of that. And we didn't agree that it should be what Jim asked for, but the merit that the council feels it might be what he asked for, but it might not be. And that's the number I don't have. And I'm just wondering if you want to give it to me today or if you want to wait until we process more paperwork. I can't submit the request for pay raise without that number.
Chairman, is there any time deadline for this activity to take place, or are we working now past the 2% automatic raise to all state employees, and so we have unlimited time, or do we have to make this happen within the next month?
Our budget goes to the governor our meeting on the budget with the governor is September 13 or 21. 21 or something. And so we need to have something for him before then and for A&I to see if we can get it processed before the budget discussion actually occurs with the governor. The current budget has already been, the current proposed budget, which I had sent everybody, has already been submitted to the governor. There's a couple things I have to get finished, which is the annual report that needs to be attached to that. And the explanation for the things outside of the standard budget exception request has been submitted. But so you are and you aren't. As I told you in one of my emails, the council has given back lots of money every planning. The last one, or I think this one, we're projected right now to get back right around 100 and some odd thousand. Based upon the numbers I gave you regarding raises, using the kind of the larger numbers that I like, we would still be giving, if those were in place this biennium and we're through the rest of the biennium, we'd still be giving back about $70,000. So there may be, within the budget we're presenting, some leeway in there without having to ask for more for raises. And it would just require the governor and A&I to say, yeah, we're going to take some of this money out of the 200, 400, 900 series and move it into the 900 series.
So if I understand correctly, Jim, from our meeting with the who's that, Mike Ogle, right?
Yeah.
The amount that we have submitted to the governor already included, just to be safe, we went ahead and assumed we put the number in for an exception that would get the full amount that you requested.
Right.
That's not approved by the council, but that's just so that the governor will see the highest number that we're trying, but we haven't yet decided what it should be, but it won't be any higher than that, for lots of reasons. So from the standpoint of meeting with the governor, if council has not decided what merit raise we'd like to get Jim, I'll be talking towards a higher number and tell them that is the upper end. Council will recommend something up to, but not exceed. So I don't know that we have, because we said it already submitted to the governor with the high end, I think we're okay.
Except for the fact that in order for that budget to kind of work its way with the governor, he needs the recommendations from A&I on that. And so if you're going to do the pay raise claim without the reclassification, and I didn't know that existed. I didn't know you could do that, Jeff. I mean, who thought you could ask for money above the top of your range without being reclassified? They said,
Well, you can always ask.
Yeah, you can ask.
Yeah.
You know, but it actually formal
Yeah, that was
process.
my,
to find that.
sure, it was my, I was, yeah, from my years of experience, I've never seen that happen. So there's two more steps you're taking. One is an actual raise request, and then itself.
Yeah.
And then there's the application.
but ultimately it would be nice if Dave and whoever else goes to that budget meeting could go to the governor and say, the council as a whole has said, this is what we want it to be. And so you can knock off so much money out of that request.
If we're gonna discuss specific salaries, we probably need to move the session. If we're not,
And I don't think you can go into executive session for salary.
No, we can't,
I think you can go in for discussion about discipline.
and we already, remember last time, we did talk about performance, specifically in the exec session. But we came out and, for example, in Joe's case, we approved that in open session, those grades.
right, well, you do it, but
Yeah. But we, if I recall, our AG rep told us, you can talk about performance in exec session, but if you're gonna actually talk about dollars and how much grade you want to do, we need to talk about that.
That was correct advice. You can talk about performance and discipline and all that stuff, but when you're talking numbers, that's out in public.
So, and, did you do the performance appraisal?
yeah, I put that in months ago.
And Dave will be doing one in about 3 months. Well, it got all screwed up because they quit doing them for a period of time because they were rewriting everything. But we're back, and I think November or December. Is that right, Joe? Do you remember what it was?
The 6
We
months
have
will
to do
be,
another one. So,
So, in the state system, and, Brian, is there, do they have any table or anything that ties the raise amount to the performance rating?
it's contingent upon it's contingent upon what the legislature does. The legislature can look at the overall, what a rating looks like, the 3 ratings. And they can say, for these ratings, we're not giving any raises. We're not giving any money for it. For this level, we're gonna give $10 for it. And for this one, we're gonna give 5. And so they, within their appropriation process, and then within the individual agencies, each of them will look and say, okay, these people have gotten this rating, they're getting no rating. These people have gotten this rating, they're getting the 2%.
So they're, I got it. Yeah, I got it.
It's all contingent upon.
The agency has the flexibility within the overall budget to see the legislature or rate.
Right.
So that's, where we're at. So, yeah,
Performance rating, but it was,
I had no problem.
Sure.
I just remember I had no problem.
You know, Mr. Chair, you prepared them to start talking about raising up now?
Right. That I would like to, because if I can get that amount, that allows me to put numbers in the paperwork. It'll be easier to keep moving forward.
You know, as I recall, and one thing I would need is, what was your original request? You made a presentation to
10%. They've requested 10% on top of the 2%. So the 2% is coming in, now we're just, so it's basically, we requested 10%.
And you, and that was for, oh, all right. Well, Mr. Chairman, the next step, you're going to have a conversation with the governor to kind of see how he's going to support this.
Well, we're going to be preparing paperwork, but then we'll also meet with the governor on budget. And of course, that will come up, because one of the things I will mention to the governor is the issue we're having with classification. We're working through it and all that, but I'll say, look, we, as a governor, thinking about state employees who classified one way or another, but are doing a good job and deserve a merit raise, and had one in 10 years, how do we feel about it, may they'll get stuck, you gotta follow the rule, or he may say, yeah, this is something that you can afford, and I don't know.
And what he may well do, because I know there's some other agencies that are doing it, I'm sorry to interrupt John, but is he may just put everybody's, he may look at he'll look at the entire state employee base, and he will probably make a single budget, line item budget request for merit raises across some level. That's my guess is what he'll do. I could be totally wrong. He may let it go agency by agency. But in the past, they've done it. It was.
Well, the only thing they tried,
That's more likely to be legislation too.
Mr. Chairman, the only, thing I would say is that I think for us to do is that whatever the amount is, that we have a strong basis for it, or at least a basis for it, that is more than just Jim asked for. I mean, I'm glad you did that, you have that right for sure, and you made a good case, and you haven't had a raise for a million years, and, well, Jim's not quite that old. But I mean, I thought he came before us, but I'm just saying that I think from a credibility perspective, I would like to have more than the reason that Jim asked. That's my only remark, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I
It's
don't.
gotta be on performance, and I think we agreed when we discussed in executive session that the performance merits the raise.
And John, you made some comments back. I sent out to everybody just the raise paper, the paper. I sent out that sheet of Joe's and mine that just said, well, one of them said reclassification, but basically it gave you the numbers, what the raise would be, and it also gave you, remember you commented back, these changes, I think we should refocus this going this way as opposed to where I had taken it. I'd given that to Dave, and I think you and Dave spoke. And so is that what you're talking about? That kind of,
Well,
that kind of information?
Yeah, something along those lines that just has how the performance appraisal itself certainly serves as the measures that serves as probably the basis.
Yeah, there's this form, request for fair pay approval, and we have to have a justification. And that needs to be focused on performance. Why, the job's been done, why is performance merits it, and yeah, and that's something I'm gonna take advantage of. And Jim's provided a draft, but I think we need to, before we polish it up.
But that's my.
So, part of your, I look back to this sheet. Remember it. And part of it was based on cost of living, right? Yeah. So,
That I'm not expecting to actually include in the justification, because cost of living, nobody gets cost of living increases in Wyoming, it's not the Wyoming way. Right.
yeah, well, I'm just.
Yeah.
Trying.
Now, the justification, I mean, look at it the other way, Jim could have done a crappy job for the last 10 years, that's why I'm not gonna do it. And we said, well, no, we're gonna give him one now, but the safety council has said, no, that's not the case, the merit is what, deserves it, not a cost of living. The 2% that everybody's getting up to 80,000 is, it's not really a cost of living, but in a way it kind of is, because everyone's getting it up to that level, a little bit of market adjustment. So this, you're right, Megan, the data Jim provided is all very useful. That's not our justification.
No, this is forward either.
Now, I have heard from at least one councilman about suggested a number that they were comfortable with. But it would be helpful for me if we had a number of other items more with the max end who was purposely submitted.
I just think it needs to be realistic in order to achieve. You know, we people move and feel like it's going to be get it out there. I don't want to get that out. I don't want it. It's getting things wrong. You know?
Mr. Chairman, I just sent you an email to that, Jim's comments. Although we would like to go to, you know, and submit and make and rectify what hasn't happened over the years, we still don't want to do that.
Right, right.
Because I don't think, say, you know, okay, so you go 5%, say you go 10%. It's not like somebody's gonna go, well, no, we're rejecting 10% because we decided it's gonna be a little bit more.
Is that how it works?
That's how it works.
There's no,
They
the
don't-
last thing you want to do is sit here and bid against yourself, so to speak.
Right.
So I mean, can you go into a meeting with the governor and say, this is what we like? However, we know there's other constraints and considerations that you deal with, we don't know. It's not
That's what
anything.
A and I, you know.
All this goes to them first.
They need to say, and they don't negotiate, it's, here's what I'm asking for, and they like, no.
And then
I don't want to be no.
Right, and then, well, then the only question becomes one is the governor willing to tell A and I now to do it? Because he can't. Whether he would or wouldn't, I have no idea. I just know that in his campaign, he said, one of the first things I'm looking at is pay for state employees. I mean, that was one of his campaign pledges, was to find a way to fix the compression that's happening and to use the merit system to actually get raises on here. And so whether that means that you will see an adjustment in A&I's reactions, or if the governor will tell A&I, I want to collect this information and work, then I'm going to make a decision, and you guys will help me make that case with the legislature. I don't know.
I personally believe the governor's not support this. Or else we would have more.
Yeah, oh, that's definitely true.
Yeah, yeah. Well, because the AI just applies its procedures, which is already above that, for that, and the answer will be no for anything. Right. So, but I don't think that, I imagine, well, AI will never admit this, that there may be a way, well, it's already above to push it higher. And they may say, look, we just aren't going to deal with this, but that's why we're also doing the JCQ. And they'll say, well, look at your justification, and look at the JCQ, and frankly, jump into the wrong classification, which would be best, I think, for everybody. That is probably what we really want, is the classification change.
I agree, and get that other level for different classifications, so that you're not, the guy that's out there way above it, and.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. I think that's the only way that this is gonna happen. You know, in my 20 years running an agency, the only way that I could actually do something for my employees was to look into the classification and movement. You know, we did hard work with A and I about what classification.
That's the JCQ.
Yeah, we prepare this for.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have an idea of classification that you're going to advocate?
If you look at the pay raise sheet of paper I sent out, down below, there's a place that says grade or classification and amount of salary. I think it's an EXMT3, I think.
Yeah, we have looked at that. I'm getting it. It's
Or EMXT or something.
Here's what the JCQ.
If you look on that sheet of paper you got at the top, Dr. Bagley.
No, I'm looking at the email.
Oh.
EXMTO3 is what I think is a good fit
Okay.
for what,
And do you have the minimum median and?
we do. It's in the document that Jim sent. I have it in front of me. For that one, actually, there's quite a bit of room on the top end. I think my note here is the facilities number $2,000 a month for the top end. So it really would put his pay that we're thinking of be pretty well in the middle of that.
Okay, here it is. So. Bottom is 42.30. And the top is 60. Or that's the hourly, so the monthly would be $8,000.
Can you say dollar and cents? Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, $8,006 for the minimum, and the max is $12,010 for the max.
Jim's currently,
No, that's 4, sorry, 3 is 7,505 and 11,267.
Jim's currently, before the 2%, was at $83.87 per month.
So it's below the median.
So we, trying to find the classification that puts the dollar amount, or trying to find a classification that puts the rule here?
Both.
Okay.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
I think you deserve what you deserve, but I just want to make sure that nobody's looking at us like,
Yeah.
why'd you classify it this way? Because I don't know what EN-X3-6, okay, I don't know what that means.
No one else does. No. From
One at a time, please.
from EX01 all the way up through EXMT6, it just says nothing.
There are comparisons that A&I makes. Because there are state employees at each one of those levels, if you will, and those state employees have job descriptions. So, for example, the high end is the state attorney general.
State psychiatrist. State psychiatrist based on one.
Yeah, okay.
But that's even a higher grade.
Yeah, so it's really, my opinion, it's very difficult for us to have much of a conversation here about the nuances between each of those levels. And A&I, and Debbie can correct me if I've experienced one of it, the JCQ, at the end of the day, A&I will evaluate what we put in that JCQ. And they will compare that to this bigger template that they hired a Hay group to develop the it says this is the value for this kind of job in the outside market. And this is where you've got all, and then they do this internal comparison too. And they compare the work of the job to similar, when they go through that, and they say, yeah, they'll either do this or they'll disagree with this. But this other thing, which is happening, and so I think if you have an opportunity to just go in for a raise, because I do have some concerns about how the JCQ will be compared by others compared to what we just went through with the legislative mandate and all the work we did last year to get that done. To me, that, I think our screen needs to be, it's our JCQ proposal for this matchup with what we said it ought to be back then, and I think that requires some study by maybe the officers to begin with, to ensure that what they should do. What I like though is what I heard that I didn't know existed, which is this opportunity to just file and ask for a raise and put in there the justification for it. And,
You start with them.
yeah.
Yeah. Get shot.
No, if you need a number.
I go down.
One at a time, one at a time.
Easy question. No.
I go ahead, you were saying that I agree with those outside to ask for a request.
Yeah.
If you don't ask me, I'll do it.
Well, and we can't go forward unless we get. And I'm not saying we should, but if we decide to go to the governor, we haven't gone to A&I and gotten it up, he's going to send it back. I mean, that's what I would do.
Yeah, right.
I think to some extent what we see is why it's been so hard to get our guys raises, because we're in a very unique agency.
Yeah.
Duties they do, especially in terms of very unique. When we met with AI on Monday, they said, this is what you said, John, they're gonna look at it, they have 3 categories: knowledge, problem solving, and level of accountability. And they look at the JCQ, they compare that to other jobs across the state. And one of the things I mentioned to them is, you're likely not gonna find another job across the state that does what this job does. It's a very unique combination of knowledge and problem solving, and the level of accountability is going to be much different than running an agency like you did, or like you did, John, where you have lots of staff. On the other hand, you also have a lot of, you have some folks who work for you directly to help do parts of that. In this case, you've been just one staff, but you should get extra credit for trying to manage 7 citizens. I mean, come on, face it.
So, based on 10%, which is the number that Tom threw out, that would be 8983. It would be below the max in even the EXTM 01, and it's still below the median in EXTM 03. So you would fit even if they put him in the EXTM 01.
That'd be more than 2% for 30.
So you said, the number I have down is 98,000.
Which is right around, it's close. It's within a $25.
Yeah, so I put 98,000 times 50% raise divided by 12, that brought me to 89. So, we start talking about numbers. You're currently at 82.
I think I'm, what's that add up to?
So that'll probably be,
I think it's 86. I think I'm at 80, right around
81,
80. 8166. Okay. So, yeah, right around 82.
to some extent, what would be helpful for me is a percent, because then we can fine tune exactly what the dollar number should be based on the 2% that's already gone in and everything else. The numbers are good to talk about, so you get a feel, but
Right.
give me a percent.
But the charge all based on numbers, so that would be.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Just for my clarification, Megan, are you suggesting 10 plus 2 or?
The
2
two's
plus
already,
8? The 2's already happened. So
Right.
you're saying 10 plus.
well, the only number I could throw out, I thought, yeah, was 10. So I was just running that number to see where that put us on these charts.
Well, okay, because that's, Mr. Chairman, that's what I was sitting here, trying to think of how all of us are gonna come to some conclusion of what the recommendation will be. And my assumption is there'll be a motion,
Yes.
and, so, well, and I'm not sure how you wanna craft that motion to start the official formal conversation on it. But if you are factoring in where he might end up after the raise, then that could change what I would think would be an appropriate amount. In other words, if the body decides that it ought to be 8% because they already got 2, that should be, we should probably clarify that. If the body decides that it wants to put them in a range somewhere, then we ought to decide that. And that be the basis, because I think the motion that we discussed ought to have something more meat to it than maybe one member saying, hey, why don't we start
So
at the top?
Well, I'm just,
if I get
And I think
interject,
that's what you were trying to do, Megan, and I guess I'm just
Right.
reinforcing that.
if I can interject, I like it as simple as possible. And the way we did Joe's motion, we determined the percent. We made a motion on the percent, we approved it. And that's, in my view, the question I have, what percent raise, and he's got the 2%, as far as I'm concerned, that's off the table now. What percent merit raise do we feel Jim has earned? 1%, 10%, 8%, and that's the number that I'd like to vote on, and I'd like folks to think of it as a percent, because then I'll take that percent, and then Megan provided us an idea of where that will end up, but then we'll fine tune it to make sure that we got the right amount, because we do have to put an actual number in the form. But that's just what I'm thinking. It's easiest for me to think about it merit, we rate it at 30%. But if the council wants to do it differently, that's fine too. But ultimately, I'd like a motion on something and an approval of a motion, and then I can start crunching the numbers. And where he fits in the JCQ, all that stuff, to be honest, we looked at the, based on what we think he does and everything, we think he fits in that XMT, but that to me is a separate issue. And we're not trying to fit a category to, okay, we're thinking about this performance, 12% raise for the reserves, and then we'll try to figure out with the administrators how to make that happen.
So, Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
in the private industry, we see it as like a merit adjustment, a market adjustment, and then a cost of living adjustment. And in essence, we're kind of, in my mind, looking at all three of these components, even though we're in a public office, in a whole different set of metrics. But they are trying to make that adjustment to compensate for some of the lack of adjustment in the past span of years. I think that's brought us to this point to ask the question, because it has stayed as a stagnant number.
Mm-hmm. Anybody want to make a motion?
You want Kathy to put report in it?
There's been a lot of good thoughts, right? We want it to be, we don't want no. We might expect to see a no on the pay approval, request for pay approval form, but to some extent that might be okay because it helps us facilitate the JCQ approach. But, we asked for some ridiculous number. Well, we want to double Jim's pay. Everybody's, we caused a lot of laughter around the city of Cheyenne with that. But it was just unreasonable. So, we did in fact look up what the psychiatrist out of that position is open, if I recall.
Yeah, what?
And many of us might see pay raises if we could take on.
That's $250,000. The psychiatrist makes more than the state physician.
Oh, almost makes as much as football coach.
No, not even.
No.
Come on, John, that's just fun.
So is it, let me ask this question. I'm assuming that the motion I would like to give you the authority to be able to negotiate up to 10% merit raise. That way you have flexibility to get as much of that raise as you get. That working within the system, and working, does that make sense to do it that way, or just say, hey, we want a 10% raise?
And I think we have to come up with new design. I don't think it's going to be like this little thing, like give them something and then they come back and say, yes or no. Yeah, but I think it's just enough. John didn't know, but I think it's just enough to be something strong and be good, this is it, this is what we want.
A question on that, I agree with you, I think we're better off with whatever. But just this is a process related question. We take a vote on something. Then you go negotiate with the governor and you end up, the best number you can get is a lesser number. Do you have to come back to us and we then revisit the decision we made? I mean, that's the penalty. I'm sitting up front, it's a dumb question.
Yeah, right. I think we could,
Yeah.
I think we could phrase a motion like, the council approves X percent, this is the number we want. But then in the motion, you could say, allowing, and that's the number that we put into the forms, but then allowing, the chair to, if that number can't be achieved, to take a lower number. I think we could write the motion that way, but we just need a number that say this is the top end.
You could say,
Yeah, that's a question I don't know the answer. I don't know the answer. But give like Deb said, give a number. This is what the council wants. Good. But if we end up in some kind of negotiation, maybe the governor and I have an arm wrestle or something. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll take GD. Let's have him stand. So,
Do you have a preference on the strategy that we use to accomplish? Are you sitting there thinking, man, don't ask for 10%, I know that's never gonna happen.
I'm a shoot for the stars kind of guy. I believe exactly what you said, Jay. You don't ask, the answer is no. And that's what you get. I have my 1% raise, and they say no, well, you're done. You can't go, well, okay, I want a 2% raise. You can't go up. And if you don't ask, then you let them off the hook because they don't have to say no. And so, I mean, quite honestly, if I was sitting there and I had my own choice to make, I would start at 20%. I would go in and my statement would be, the COLAs over this time of year would be X. The merits would be Y. But I'm not asking you to do that. I'm just telling you what I would do. I wouldn't go in, I'm willing to take a 10% or no. Quite honestly, I'm willing for them to say no to me and get nothing. If what I'm asking for is 10%. I'm good with 0, quite honestly, because 0 and 2% don't make a damn bit of difference. 0 and 5% makes a little bit of difference, but ain't gonna.
Jim makes a good point.
So that's.
Let me cut you off if I can. Your recommendation is based on your experience, based on your employment with the state, and all that you know that goes on in the state. Your recommendation to this body is to say, come up with a number, but also have, leave the door open so you don't just set yourself up for a full-in answer. Is that
right? And so
he's kind of coming along with what he's sort of saying, but reinforcing maybe
what
your idea.
Yeah. What JD said was give Dave the authority to at least start at a point, and if he has to negotiate down, he can negotiate down, and he can come back to you guys if necessary to get approval to say, are you okay with the 1%?
So I have a question for Ben and John, because both of them manage state agencies and work with A9. At this point, if we went in and asked for a 1% raise, would they say no?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, I think that.
So it doesn't matter what we ask for, they're probably gonna say no no matter what. So we should ask for what we want, so that when we go up to the next level, that there's justification for it.
Yeah, the variable,
I mean, that's what.
Yeah, the variable in my mind in that, I think, Jeff, you would agree with me. I would too. The variable in my mind is something I just picked up on today, which is that, and Ken reminded us, the governor has spoken philosophically in public about public employees' salaries and whatnot. And we have this opportunity to go in and ask for a raise specifically, which is new to me. Honestly, because I cannot take that issue description. So there is now this other opportunity out there where sort of it takes the HR technical people, it sounds like, out of the equation for a moment, and let the governor decide where something. I think once the governor were to decide where he wants somebody to be, I don't think any guy's going to let him But yeah, if you go to AMI, you go to the regular chart, they'll say 8 home to the maximum range.
Look, they'll use their chart, they'll compare Jim to some other state employees and say, no.
And the only way you get, 1% raise without a reclassification is no. If they agree that what Dave and you guys write down is these are the job qualifications, if they decide that, yeah, that merits, or that we have that position classified wrong, and they move it to a new classification, then a raise through them probably moves more likely to a yes if I'm not at the meeting. Right?
They'll put you at the end of that.
Right. And so that's why the two-tier movement, because they may say that the JCQ doesn't merit moving just to a different position. And that the group that hired me was just plain ass wrong on paying me as much as they did.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
In that scenario as described by Jim, we're going at it with 2 oars in the water. We have to get both of these things to happen in order for this raise to take place. Because based on what I'm hearing right now, if we have the 1% and 20% in his current classification, he has to be reclassified in order for this raise to happen. So we have to advance both.
Yep.
Or that is that other piece that we talked about earlier, that you can just ask for a raise. But we know or believe to know that AMI will say no based on your current classification. And then be a governor's decision to override AMI. And what's the likelihood of that? And what's the likelihood of Dr. David to be in some form of a negotiation with a sliding scale? Those seem to me to be the parts and pieces of what we're still doing.
But what I think, will happen, like you guys, unlike you guys, I haven't never gone through the state process. I've been involved with stuff that goes on at university, which has its own way of doing things, but always people have been able to get raises even though they're way above their classification under special conditions because people have the break. But I think what will happen here is we'll put together a justification and we'll submit a request for pay approval and it will be denied. But that's okay because to some extent that helps support our JCQ because I think what we'll see is, well, the justification is going to show that the type of work Jim's doing is what it is, but it will not be this, it'll be above whatever the current classification is, why people aren't right now. I mean, the JCQ goes up with that afterwards. You can say, well, we tried and it was denied, but why it was denied? Because the type of work he's doing is not classified properly. So here's the JCQ that allow ANI, and ANI is your credit organization. They're going to want to go through these. Well, did you ask for a pay request? Yes. You just, oh, okay. So now we can look at this. And you're right, it's a real customer. I think we do want both of those steps, and that. But I agree. I don't think anybody's going to say, well, no, we're just going to get that. Although it probably can happen. It's not going to. The possibility, probability is very low.
So we're dealing with Trisha Bob at this point.
Yeah, I'll be meeting with Tricia this afternoon on the MOU, but I will also check with her.
Is there actually Aaron Williams, who's the head of HR right now?
Okay.
And so it'll really be Aaron that will be working on this stuff.
Okay, that's what.
Because Tricia moved out. Aaron moved in. Yeah, they both moved out.
Yeah, I don't, that would be, you didn't like me? You didn't like me?
That's surprising. That's really nice to Dean. Dean Foster.
Does someone want to make a motion to save 10%? I share, I think.
I'll make a motion, we increase, pay 10% from the currently. Or whatever channels, then it's necessary to make that happen.
Right, with a motion and a second, and any discussion. In further discussion, we discussed a lot.
Let's start the discussion. Mr. Chairman, I don't think this is not a roll call vote, is it?
No. No. Of course, this is small enough, if you vote no, Joe, you're John, and you're going to want to go home.
Well, I'll just, in our conversations and deliberations for the last 45 minutes, we've wandered across all the universe, pay philosophy, pay systems, people that should make the judgments and all that stuff. And it to me, it points out the inadequacy of the skill base we have as citizens council to really understand how the system works and how it plays out. So in a way, we're sort of we're taking a shot at something new here, at least for something, and I support that we take that shot at it. I like the idea, but I like the idea of giving you some, giving you a charge, but also to say you're going to be the one that's going to be exposed to people, and we're not. So I agree with the idea that we give you that authority as well. So but I just, a lot of the stuff we talked about in the last half an hour is so beyond my personal capabilities as HR function. I'll stick with it. That's my comment on the motion. I like the motion. So, get you in the middle of the system and trust your capability to get to where we need to go. So that might be also.
Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, and I do believe we beat this pretty good. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. 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 Any opposed? Nay? Any abstentions? All right, thank you very much. That helps now I have a number of those start working on the paperwork and keep moving it forward. Keep you up to date.
Yeah.
Are there any other anything else to bring before the council today? Seeing nothing. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Second? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Nay? We are adjourned. Thank you. The worst that can happen is the government will fire you.
Ultimately, paid me.
Do you remember counting on just, so 15 hours worth?
As far as I'm concerned.
Oh, yeah, sorry about that. I'll try better now.
They just be down on that thing.
Right, it was.
Sometimes they're, I was
Oh,
saying.
yeah, I haven't seen
Yeah,
that.
really.
Yeah.
And when they.
And once you think it's gonna be 2 hours, might be 6.
Go home today or tomorrow.
This, did you get one of these to sign? You got one.
I,
Right, say.
okay.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking.
They went through in depth.
Okay.
I mean, when the guy was talking about it.
Out there.
Okay, good to see you.
Nice to see you. We can be smart. We go into smart, July, so, yeah.
I think maybe everything.
But we have a contract.
I think there's so many things that I want to see on this. I would like to, but my opinion.
No, I will say. Maybe don't get your book late.
And they said, good trip. See what,
Our new slogan.
Take care.
Right
I
now.
don't know if you followed it, there were some action. I got this hat, I was hoping I would.
Straight west.
Business. Grab the bag. You want it?
And then sure.
I'll take it.
Did you sign?
I'm gonna wear it.